Babes, welcome back. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe because, babes, we are your people.
And babes, if you are a returning snarker, we love you, we see you, and babes, we appreciate you.
Because, babes, this finale proved once again that leaving the villa does not mean leaving the chaos.
You're not even close. Like, if anything, the real world just gave them a bigger budget, zero supervision, and way more room to completely dismantle their own public images.
Exactly. So welcome to the Snark side. Happy Sunday to our entire Snark squad.
Happy Sunday, besties.
We are so thrilled to be sitting here with you on your Sunday morning for our weekly TV chat because I physically needed this debrief.
Oh, same.
I have been vibrating at a frequency that can only be described as fully unwell since the finale dropped. But before we get into the absolute psychiatric study that was Lake Tahoe, we have to ground ourselves.
Yeah, we need a quick Sunday morning check-in. Because later today, the emotional toll is going to be incredibly high.
It really is. Both of us are taking our moms out for Mother's Day lunch today.
Thoughts and prayers to us both. Seriously, light a candle for our nervous systems.
You know, I am genuinely excited. I love my mom. We love our moms.
We do. We really do.
But let's be entirely honest with the Snark Squad, because I know you guys relate. Family outings are an extreme sport.
Oh, 100%.
I am already overwhelmed. Like, I spent the last 3 weeks trying to curate this perfect afternoon. I'm trying to find a restaurant with the exact right lighting coordinate outfits so we look aesthetically cohesive, but, you know, not like we try too hard.
Right, the effortless aesthetic. So exhausting.
And I am just mentally preparing for the inevitable moment when the lunch turns into an emotional marathon. Like, why does ordering a Cobb salad always lead to a deeply intense conversation about generational trauma?
It is unavoidable.
I swear I'm going to be crying in my mimosa by 1:15 p.m.
I love how you still try to orchestrate these perfect, glossy, Pinterest board family moments, and then reality just relentlessly slaps you in the face.
Hey, I'm an optimist.
Well, my strategy for Mother's Day lunch is strictly survival-based. It is entirely defensive.
You are so avoidant, I swear.
I am anticipating at least 3 last-minute venue changes because someone read a Yelp review from 2018 about the valet parking situation.
Oh my gosh, the Yelp reviews.
Yes. So my plan is to smile, nod, and actively disassociate directly into my Caesar salad. When the emotional marathon starts, I am simply clocking out.
See, I can't just clock out. I absorb all the energy in the room. But honestly, the only thing getting me through the impending emotional labor of this afternoon is the fact that the iced coffees are currently on deck.
Praise be to the siren.
We did our early morning run. We secured the massive iced mochas. And I don't know who was on bar this morning, but they put their entire soul into these drinks.
It is a masterpiece.
The ratio of espresso to chocolate to ice is borderline spiritual. Iced coffee isn't just a beverage for us, babes. It is a fundamental pillar of our emotional support system.
It's liquid resilience, but it actually brings up a highly concerning question.
Oh.
Do we think we are legitimately chemically addicted to caffeine?
Okay, don't attack me like this on a Sunday morning.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at this giant cup, and I'm realizing I haven't had a single profound thought before 9 a.m. since, like, 2018.
I mean, yes, we are. But how many coffees is actually considered too many?
The limit does not exist.
Because I'll have this one, then I'll probably have a sneaky little cold brew before the Mother's Day lunch, just to brace myself.
Naturally.
And then I'll definitely need a mid-afternoon pick-me-up, because dealing with family dynamics drains my literal life force. Functioning without it feels absolutely impossible.
My personality doesn't even boot up until the second shot of espresso hits my bloodstream. It's the emotional dependence that gets me, though.
Yeah, right.
Like, if I drop my iced coffee on the sidewalk, I don't just mourn the loss of the beverage. I mourn the loss of the person I was going to become today.
The productivity is just gone.
Evaporated.
Yeah.
The patience for my patients tomorrow morning, gone.
Okay, speaking of finding peace and stability amidst the chaos, in real-time reality TV gossip, we have to shout out our girl Ola.
Oh, yes.
Because, babes, in real time, Ola just bought her first house. And we are so incredibly proud of her.
A massive, massive flex, home ownership in this economy.
I know.
Moving in total silence and securing the bag. We love to see it.
It is so exciting seeing her post those pictures with the keys, standing on the porch of a beautiful house, looking so at peace.
She looks amazing.
And honestly, it really cemented a thought I had while watching these finale episodes.
She looked at the casting call for the Beyond the Villa spinoff. She looked at the group chat, and she decided to entirely opt out.
Let's be brutally honest here.
Yeah.
Ola dodging that callback was hands down the single best career and mental health move she could have possibly made.
Literally.
She realized that proximity to these people was a huge liability. She decided to go build equity instead of building fake drama, because this cast turned out to be an absolute unmitigated trash fire. 100%. It is fascinating to look at who is actually thriving right now.
Yeah, the contrast is wild.
The people who are winning are the ones who put their phones down, stepped away from the reality TV bubble, and got on with their lives.
Meanwhile, you have half this cast publicly unraveling, clinging to relevance, and embarrassing themselves for what? A little extra screen time.
It's the sheer desperation to extend their 15 minutes of fame is so uncomfortable to watch. We will definitely categorize their specific brands of delusion later on in the segments.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
But before we get into the Tahoe trip, we need to do a quick dentist life check-in. Because tomorrow is Monday, and the Sunday scaries are starting to creep in around the edges of this iced mocha.
The dread is palpable. I am already anticipating the specific archetypes of patients waiting for me tomorrow.
Let me guess.
I have an 8 a.m. appointment with a patient who is notorious for trying to tell me elaborate life stories while I literally have sharp metal instruments inside their mouth.
Oh my gosh, I hate the talkers.
Right. The sheer logistical nightmare of trying to decipher what they are saying while keeping their tongue safe. It's a Monday morning test of my will to live.
Just let me clean the plaque, please.
Exactly. What about you?
For me, it's the sheer volume of charting I know is waiting for me. But you know what tiny unhinged thing is keeping me sane this week?
Tell me.
I ordered a brand new set of scrubs in this absolutely obnoxious neon hot pink color.
Okay, work.
It's giving Elwood's goes to dental school. Putting those on tomorrow morning is the only thing standing between me and a total breakdown.
Okay, whatever keeps the boat afloat. But, thinking about the absolute excruciating secondhand embarrassment of dealing with a difficult, unpredictable person perfectly transitions us into the trauma we endured watching this cast attempt to navigate an adult vacation.
The Lake Tahoe trip, episodes 7 and 8, Isolated Islanders.
Let's set the scene for the Snark squad.
Yes, so Clark, bless her heart, takes the reins and books this massive, stunning, multi-million-dollar mansion in Lake Tahoe for the whole group. She's thinking cozy winter vibes, hot cocoa, maybe some snowboarding.
But let's talk about the architectural psychology of this booking, though, because Clark is low-key a genius.
Oh, absolutely.
She specifically booked a house that had multiple different wings. She instinctively knew deep in her soul that these people were going to need to be physically separated like fighting roosters.
She looked at the floor plan and said, okay, we need at least 3 separate quarantine zones for when the inevitable ego clashes happen.
She is by far the most self-aware person on this cast.
So everyone is arriving, dragging their oversized luggage through the snow, and immediately, within the first 5 minutes of stepping into this winter wonderland, the energy shift.
The vibes are absolutely decimated.
Brian walks in the door, sees Amaya, and goes in to give her a completely standard cultural cheek kiss greeting.
A greeting, I might add, that they literally executed flawlessly on camera during the Palm Springs trip just a few weeks prior.
0 issues. Completely cordial.
Exactly. But this time, Amaya violently recoils. She literally dodges him like he's coming at her with a biohazard.
It was so dramatic.
And she loudly cites her boundaries because her new relationship has, quote-unquote, leveled up. I was sinking into my couch cushions.
It was physically painful to watch.
Now, I want to be fair here. I completely empathize with being in a new relationship, being hyper-aware of the cameras, and maybe having a genuine panic response about how your new partner is going to perceive your interactions with your ex.
Sure.
Like, I really do feel for her in that moment if it was a genuine trauma response to the pressure of reality TV.
Yeah, I hear that, but I completely disagree with giving her that grace.
Really?
From an analytical standpoint, Amaya's behavior is a masterclass in performative boundaries. If your boundaries change between like if your new man says, hey, I'm not comfortable with you cheek kissing your ex on TV, that is totally valid.
Right. That's a normal conversation.
But you know what a mature adult does? They send a text.
Oh my God, yes. You text Brian before the trip and say, hey, just a heads up, things are serious with my new guy, so I'm keeping things strictly handshakes this weekend.
Literally. It takes 2 seconds.
You do not wait for the cameras to start rolling, let him walk into the line of fire, and then flashbang your ex with a dramatic recoil to publicly humiliate him.
When you put it like that, It really does feel like a set.
It was 100% a setup. She was performing for her new boyfriend, who is going to be watching this on his couch at home.
Wow.
She wanted the dramatic moment of publicly rejecting her ex to prove her loyalty to the new guy. It's the weaponization of therapy speak.
Weaponization of therapy speak.
Yes, she uses the word boundaries to mask what is actually just a complete lack of basic communication and respect for another human being.
And poor Brian is just standing there, looking like a confused golden retriever who just got yelled at for fetching the wrong stick.
He was completely bewildered.
It was excruciating, and it set this incredibly dark, suffocating tone for the entire trip, which culminates in that incredibly awkward first group dinner.
The dinner from hell.
They're all sitting around this massive wooden table, picking at their food in complete silence. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a snowboard.
Honestly, I felt awkward just watching it in my living room.
Finally, Clark, being the brave soul she is, just addresses the elephant in the room and asks about the weird energy.
Which is a very dangerous game. Never ask a room full of reality stars why they are tense. They will tell you, and it will be exhausting for everyone involved.
And Amaya takes this opportunity to drop a complete nuke on the dinner table.
A literal nuke.
She looks around the room and literally says, "If I don't F with you, I just don't."
The silence that followed that statement, you could hear the snowflakes falling outside.
Brian is sitting right there, absolutely terrified, rapidly rewinding the last 45 minutes in his head, wondering what federal crime he committed to get publicly excommunicated from the group.
He was questioning his entire reality.
And the sheer hypocrisy of it all. Because later in the episode, Amaya is literally crying to TJ, dabbing at her eyes, saying, "I didn't want to make anyone feel bad."
Oh, spare me.
You literally announced to a dinner table that you don't mess with people. How else are they supposed to feel?
This is classic cognitive dissonance. She holds two completely conflicting beliefs about herself at the exact same time.
Wait, explain.
She wants the aesthetic of being the tough, boundary-setting, no-nonsense New Yorker who cuts people off effortlessly. But she simultaneously desperately needs to be perceived as the sweet, innocent, empathetic victim who never hurts anyone's feelings.
You can't be both.
Exactly. The human brain cannot sustain that contradiction without short-circuiting. You cannot lob a social hand grenade into a crowded room and then cry about the noise. You have to pick a lane.
It was so messy. But honestly, Amaya's boundary meltdown was just the appetizer. The real psychological warfare started in the hot tub.
The hot tub.
And this scene, oh my gosh, this scene triggered something so deep inside me.
Ah, yes. The acoustic disaster of the Lake Tahoe jacuzzi. Let's analyze the absolute rookie mistakes of this entire operation.
So Hannah and Iris are chilling in the hot tub outside. It's nighttime, the cameras are rolling, and they start loudly, and I mean loudly, complaining about the other girls.
Zero volume control.
They are going on and on about how exhausting it is to be friends with everyone, and they specifically start targeting Bella, Coco, and Grayson, saying they don't want to be close to them, acting like the mere existence of these girls is a massive burden on their lives.
And here is where we discuss the physics of the situation.
Yes, the layout.
The hot tub is situated outside. Sound travels incredibly well over water and through the crisp, cold night air, and whose room happens to be physically located right next to the hot tub with the windows right there.
The uncool girls' room.
The uncool girls' room. Bella, Coco, and Grayson are literally sitting in their beds hearing every single word of this character assassination.
I felt physically sick for them. Like, I am 26 years old, sitting in my living room, and I was crying over high school cafeteria politics.
It was brutal.
You could see the visceral hurt on Grayson's face. It's that deeply ingrained universal trauma of realizing the popular girls are talking about you behind your back, and they don't even care if you hear it.
Yep.
I was so emotional. I wanted to reach through the screen and give them all a hug. It just proves that we never really leave middle school.
Sociologically speaking, you're exactly right. We never do. What we are witnessing here is classic in-group versus out-group dynamics.
Oh, totally.
Hannah and Iris are solidifying their own bond, their in-group, by aggressively defining who is in the out-group. They don't actually have that much in common, but they bond over a shared disdain for others.
It's toxic bonding.
And what is truly fascinating is dissecting the defense that Iris and Hannah try to use later when they get called out. They try to slap this very modern, progressive therapy speak veneer over their mean girl behavior.
Yes. They claim they're just setting boundaries and prioritizing adult friendships.
They act like they are so evolved. But let's clarify the definitions here. An adult friendship means you don't have to text every single day. It means you understand your friends have busy lives.
Exactly.
It does not mean you gather in a cauldron of hot water to verbally ice out 3 women you are contractually obligated to share a house with.
A cauldron of hot water, I'm screaming.
There is a massive fundamental difference between having a small, tight-knit circle of friends and being actively, loudly exclusionary. That's not a boundary, that's relational aggression.
Relational aggression, that is the exact term. You don't have to be best friends with everyone,
Right.
but you don't have to loudly broadcast your disdain for them while they are in earshot.
It's just cruel.
And that toxic energy just bleeds right into the worst game of charades in television history.
I had to look away from the screen during this scene. I physically could not handle the cringe. This was a masterclass in psychological manipulation.
So they're having this cozy onesie game night,
Okay.
trying to force some holiday cheer, which is already a recipe for disaster.
Never.
They are playing a game where you pull a name and have to imitate that cast member.
Yeah.
Hannah gets up, pulls Grayson's name, and immediately starts doing this super exaggerated mocking imitation and says, "I'm going to steal your man."
Which is already a weird, aggressive choice for a party game.
Highly aggressive.
It's a microaggression wrapped in a party game.
Yeah.
She is testing the waters to see how much disrespect she can get away with under the guise of just playing around.
But then it gets so much worse. Hannah completely drops the act, stops the game dead in its tracks, stares directly at Grayson across the room, and in this completely flat, terrifyingly calm voice asks, "Are you good, though? You seem off."
It was chilling, truly chilling behavior.
I was hyperventilating. The secondhand embarrassment was suffocating me.
Dark.
She weaponized a party game to conduct a public welfare check, specifically designed to make Grayson look crazy and uncomfortable in front of the entire group.
Yep.
But part of me wondered, is Hannah just incredibly socially unaware? Like maybe she genuinely thought Grayson looked sad and chose the absolute worst possible time to ask.
No, absolutely not. We cannot give her the benefit of the doubt there.
You don't think so?
That was not a lack of social awareness. It was a hyper-awareness of power dynamics. It's a classic gaslighting technique, specifically reactive abuse.
Wait, break that down for me.
You poke someone, you mock them, you make them intensely uncomfortable. Then, when they naturally react by looking visibly uncomfortable, you loudly announce to the room, "Wow, you seem crazy right now. Is everything okay?"
Oh my God.
It forces the victim to defend their sanity in a room full of people.
Hannah wasn't checking on Grayson's well-being. She was establishing dominance.
That is so twisted.
She was communicating to the entire house, "I control the vibe of this room, and right now I am deciding that your vibe is the problem." It was calculated.
You are so right. It forces Grayson to either say, "I'm fine," which validates Hannah's behavior, or get upset, which makes Grayson look like the crazy one ruining game night.
It is a no-win situation.
It is a complete trap. It was so nasty. But thankfully, the bubble finally bursts, because the girls were not going to just sit there and take it. Thank God for Coco. Coco was the necessary corrective force this house desperately needed.
So the game night inevitably implodes, and the uncool girls pull Iris and Hannah aside to the couch for a confrontation. And Coco masterfully, calmly confronts them.
She was a professional.
She lays it all out. She brings up the hot tub comments. She calls them out for isolating themselves, and she refuses to back down or raise her voice.
Coco came with a thesis statement, supporting evidence, and a firm conclusion. She did not let emotion derail her argument. She operated purely on facts.
But Hannah's response, I mean, we witnessed pathological lying in its absolute purest form.
It was breathtaking.
Hannah looks Coco dead in the eye and tries to gaslight the entire room. She claims that when she was in the hot tub talking about how she didn't want to be friends with people, she wasn't talking about Grayson, Bella, or Coco.
Okay.
She claims she was actually talking about Chris and Brian.
The sheer audacity of this lie. It defies all logic, all physics, all known reality.
It makes no sense.
Why would she be complaining about the emotional exhaustion of being friends with the guys in the context of the girls' dynamic? It makes zero sense.
And the best part, the absolute peak physical comment of this entire miserable trip is that Chris and Brian are literally standing on the staircase right behind them, eavesdropping on the whole conversation.
The comedic timing was impeccable.
They hear Hannah drop their names,
Yeah.
and they both just look at each other completely stunned. And Chris just violently flips the bird at the back of Hannah's head.
Oh my God, yes.
They were so confused as to why they were suddenly catching strays in a fight they had absolutely nothing to do with.
It was Shakespearean level irony. Hannah panicked, realized she was cornered by Coco's logic, needed a scapegoat immediately, and just threw the first two male names she could think of under the bus.
The desperation.
But it backfired spectacularly because the men were right there to witness the lie in real time.
So Grayson pushes back, Coco pushes back, and Hannah realizes she is losing the argument horribly. She can't lie her way out of it.
Yeah.
What does she do?
She retreats.
She deploys the weaponized walkout. She stands up mid-sentence, suddenly gets incredibly defensive, blames her anxiety, and then drops the most iconic, unhinged exit line of the season.
Say it.
She literally shouts, "I have a dog and a boyfriend that fing love me," and storms off to bed.
We need to pause and talk extensively about the weaponization of mental health because this is a terrifying trend in reality television and society at large.
Please, go into this. Because I initially felt a twinge of empathy, like if she's really having a panic attack, I feel awful for her. I know what anxiety feels like, and it's debilitating.
And that empathy is exactly what she's preying on.
Yeah.
But we cannot give her that out. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot initiate an awkward, aggressive public call-out during a game of charades, intentionally try to humiliate another woman, lie to a group of people to their faces to avoid accountability, and then the second you are held to the fire for your own toxic actions, pull the ripcord and play the anxiety card.
Yeah.
It is intensely manipulative. It is deeply offensive to people who actually suffer from debilitating clinical anxiety. She didn't have anxiety in that moment. She had a lack of valid argument.
She was just losing the fight.
Exactly. When she realized she couldn't gaslight her way out of the corner Coco painted her into, she used her mental health as a literal shield to deflect criticism. It was a cowardly retreat disguised as a mental health crisis.
That is so profoundly true. It is so manipulative to use the language of therapy to escape the consequences of your own cruelty.
It really is.
She knew that if she said the word anxiety, the other girls would have to back off or risk looking like monsters on television. It's a trap.
Completely.
And while Hannah is fleeing the scene to hide under her covers, Iris is having her own entirely delusional meltdown with Bella on the slopes the next day.
Yes. The ski lift summit of absolute delusion.
Iris pulls Bella aside, and she is furious.
Why?
Because Bella had the absolute audacity to try and mediate between Iris and Pepe at the Christmas party weeks ago.
The horror.
Bella literally just suggested hearing both sides of the story, and Iris is treating this like an act of high treason. She is demanding blind, unquestioning loyalty from Bella.
And this is where Iris's internal logic completely shreds itself into a million tiny, hypocritical pieces. Let's look at the empirical data of this friendship.
Let's look at it.
Iris never calls Bella. Iris never texts Bella. They live in the exact same city, and Iris completely ignores her existence outside of filming obligations.
Literally ignores her.
She treats Bella like a mild background inconvenience. Yet she looks this woman in the eye and demands that Bella blindly hate her ex-boyfriend simply because Iris dictates it.
The entitlement is staggering.
You cannot make 0 deposits into a friendship bank account and then try to withdraw $1 million of loyalty. The math does not compute.
Bella was so real for telling her that to her face. She essentially said, "Why would I blindly follow you into battle when you don't even act like you like me?"
Good for her.
Bella recognized that the friendship was entirely transactional. But babes, here is the bombshell. Here's the detail that made me literally gasped out loud in my living room.
I know what you're going to say.
During this conversation about loyalty, we find out the real-world cost of these fake reality TV friendships. Bella reveals that she turned down a $20,000 brand deal with Brian out of loyalty to Amaya.
$20,000 in this economy. Let that sink in.
I am physically ill over this. You gave up $20,000 for reality TV friendships.
Friendships with people who won't even reply to your text messages.
Friendships with girls who are actively talking trash about you in a hot tub and treating you like an outcast.
It is objectively the worst financial decision in the history of the franchise. Let's break down the influencer economy for a second. 20 grand is life-changing money for someone just coming off a reality show.
It's a down payment.
That is a down payment on a property.
Yeah.
That is paying off student loans. Bella, if you're listening, you take the money. You always take the money.
Always.
What makes it so tragic is the asymmetry of the loyalty. Amaya didn't even care.
Amaya did not care.
Amaya was busy dodging cheek kisses and ignoring everyone at the dinner table. Amaya is not paying your rent, Bella. To sacrifice your own financial stability for the illusion of loyalty to a cast group chat that will inevitably go dead by Thanksgiving is a modern tragedy. I am legitimately in mourning for that lost brand deal.
I would sell every single person in that villa out for a corn chip, let alone 20 grand.
The same.
The financial illiteracy mixed with the desperation to be liked by the popular girls is just a lethal combination. The delusion is running so incredibly deep.
It really is.
And speaking of delusion, we have to talk about the man, the myth, the absolute producer-checked lapdog Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, a walking, talking case study in how to destroy your own public goodwill in 3 easy episodes.
I was so intensely angry watching him. The mixed signals masterclass he was putting Andreina through, it was emotional torture.
It was painful.
He is holding her hand, he is kissing her face, he is cuddling with her on the couch in front of the entire house. But the second she tries to clarify where they stand, he pulls back, insists they're just friends, and gets incredibly defensive, claiming he is not leading her on at all.
He is playing an incredibly dangerous, selfish, psychological game.
And Andreina felt so crazy.
Yeah.
She's sitting there thinking, am I hallucinating? Is this man not literally putting his lips on my face?
Right.
She felt so hurt and confused. And he was just staring at her with these blank, uncomprehending eyes, like she was the one being hysterical and unreasonable.
But then we were gifted with the single greatest moment of the entire season. The producers, who clearly had reached their absolute professional limit with his nonsense, finally intervened.
The confessional scene. It deserves an Emmy.
Jeremiah is sitting in the confessional chair, giving his usual practiced, media-trained speech. He's spinning this narrative about how he's just a nice guy, he's so respectful, and Andreina is just taking things the wrong way. He is actively gaslighting the audience right to our faces, and then a producer from behind the camera actually breaks the fourth wall and interrupts him.
Best moment ever.
The producer asks, out loud, has she ever tried to escalate things with you?
The long pause that follows.
Jeremiah just freezes. His brain completely short-circuits because he realizes he's been caught in 4K.
He totally forgot they were recording reality.
The panopticon of reality TV finally worked against him. He forgot that the people filming him actually see everything, and he is forced to quietly, miserably admit no.
It was cinema. He had to verbally admit on camera that he was the one initiating all the physical contact, all the flirting, all the relationship-coded behavior, while simultaneously telling her to her face that they were just platonic friends.
So let's analyze Jeremiah's overarching behavior this whole trip, because the Andreina situation is just a symptom of a much larger psychological disease.
Okay, doctor, diagnose him.
Jeremiah is suffering from chronic nice guy syndrome. He wants the physical affection and the massive ego boost of Andreina liking him, but he doesn't want to commit to her. Why? Because he is too busy playing the role of the ultimate lapdog to the popular girls, Hannah, Iris, Amaya.
He wants to be adjacent to their clout.
Precisely. He wants to be seen as the cool guy who hangs with the cool girls. He prioritizes proximity to perceived social power over genuine human connection.
That is so accurate.
So he blindly defends their toxic exclusionary behavior against the other girls. He becomes their guard dog. I've said it before, Jeremiah is essentially an AI trained entirely on the mean girl's point of view.
Oh my gosh, the AI analogy is so perfect. Explain that more.
Think about how machine learning works. An AI has no original thoughts, no core moral programming. It just takes in data from its environment and outputs behavior that will get it a reward.
Okay.
Jeremiah's entire operating system is based on getting positive reinforcement from high-status females within his immediate ecosystem. When he gets a pat on the head from Iris or Hannah, that becomes his baseline code. He just parrots whatever they tell him to think.
Wow.
Andreina represents a glitch in his programming. She requires emotional authenticity and accountability, which his code simply doesn't support. So he discards her, gaslights her, and goes back to his default programming of agreeing with whoever has the most Instagram followers in the room. It's pathetic.
That is the most accurate read of a man I have ever heard. He has no original source code.
Not at all.
He just mirrors the toxicity around him because it feels safe.
Yeah.
It really was hard to watch him manipulate Andreina like that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the claustrophobic Tahoe trip ends, and the chaos follows them right back to their normal lives.
Yes, the real world.
The post-Tahoe mess is where the real world starts dismantling these fake relationships.
Let's start with the most inevitable, structurally unsound breakup of the century, Chris and Coco.
I think my iced coffee lasted longer than this relationship. Coco finally ends things, and the breaking point was so hilariously mundane. Chris wouldn't even help carry her snowboard.
The bare minimum was resting on the floor, and Chris brought a shovel to dig underneath it.
It was so embarrassing. They're walking through the snow. She is visibly struggling with her gear, and he is just strolling along without a care in the world. So she rightfully cuts him loose.
Good for her.
But Chris's confessional response is what sent me into orbit. He sits there, completely serious, and says, Coco wants a princess, but I want an older, established woman.
Let me translate this for the Snark squad, because I speak fluent reality TV fuckboy.
Please do.
When a man like Chris says he is looking for an older, established woman, what he is actually legally declaring is, I bring absolutely nothing to the table, financially, emotionally, or intellectually.
Nothing.
I am actively seeking a sugar mama to fund my lifestyle, pay my rent, and buy my groceries while I pretend to be a successful influencer on TikTok.
Spot on. He doesn't want an equal partner. He wants a dependent lifestyle. He's looking for a corporate sponsor, not a girlfriend.
Exactly.
Good for Coco for recognizing that immediately and dropping the dead weight.
Right.
She secured her own peace.
And then we have Austin.
Austin. The audacity of this man. So we briefly see that Austin is now officially, publicly dating Raven.
The soft launch.
Which is a massive, glaring choice, considering he spent the last few weeks of filming completely gaslighting Grayson, looking her directly in the eyes and swearing up and down that he definitely wasn't seeing Raven.
A soft launch built on a foundation of absolute lies. It's the arrogance of thinking the audience won't remember what you said on camera 3 weeks ago.
Right. The internet always keeps the receipts.
Yeah.
But honestly, the most fascinating check-in of the entire post-Tahoe wrap-up was the little cameo from Nick Vans.
Oh, Nick.
Nick flies into LA to visit TJ. And Nick drops some serious, profound reality TV survival knowledge. He advises TJ to only ever share 10% of his relationship with the public. Keep the other 90% completely ruthlessly private.
Say what you want about Nick, but this was the most brilliant, analytical piece of PR advice given all season.
Really?
Let's look at the data. Nick and Andreina are the only couple from season 7 who are actually surviving and thriving in the real world. Why? Because they starve the fans. They understand the commodification of romance.
Wait, explain the commodification part, because I think that's exactly what destroys these couples.
When you go on a dating show, your romantic connection becomes a product for public consumption. The audience feels ownership over your love life because they watched it form.
Right. We feel like we were there.
If you give them 100% access, if you post every date, every argument, every milestone, you are letting thousands of strangers into your living room to critique your dynamic. Nick understands that the second you let the public into that remaining 90%, they will tear it apart for sport.
That is so true.
Look at TJ and Iris. They are out here saying, I love you for the first time while a boom mic hovers over their heads. They are monetizing their intimacy. Nick and Andreina give you a crumb of a post every 3 weeks, and then they retreat to their private, unfilmed lives. That is how you survive.
It's so true. Keep it private. Protect your peace. Which brings us to the only other people who seem somewhat grounded in reality, Taylor and Clark.
The unicorns.
Taylor surprises Clark in the snow, which was actually a very cute, genuinely romantic moment. I swooned a little bit, I won't lie.
Yeah.
And then we find out Clark is making a massive life decision.
A very smart one.
Instead of uprooting her entire life immediately to follow a man she met on TV, she decides to stay in North Carolina to do content creation and pay for her schooling.
A pragmatic, logical, financially sound decision. Clark and Taylor actually sit down and have discussions about geography, finances, and education. They are acknowledging the logistical hurdles of a real relationship. They are the only somewhat sane people left in this entire franchise.
I love them together. It feels very mature. But I know you.
Oh, I am cautiously skeptical of Taylor.
I knew it.
I'm glad he showed up. I'm glad they're communicating like adults, but I am keeping one eye wide open. The bar for men on this show is currently resting somewhere near the Earth's core, so simply acting like a normal, communicative human being looks like a grand, sweeping, romantic gesture. We'll see how it plays out when the cameras are permanently gone.
Fair enough. The skepticism is warranted, given the track record. Well, babes, that wraps up the massive recap. Looking at this whole sprawling mess, we need to officially categorize this cast's grip on reality.
It's time for the Villa Delusion ranking.
Who actually has a grasp on the real world and who is lost in the sauce? Let's do our delusion rankings, from most self-aware to completely detached from reality. Kick us off with the most self-aware.
The top of the pyramid, the absolute beacons of reality, are Clark and Vella.
Agreed.
Clark is the most self-aware because she literally booked a mansion with separate wings. She saw the toxic vibes forming before they even packed their bags. She reads a room beautifully.
She really does.
And Bella. Bella is incredibly grounded. She communicates clearly, she refuses to apologize for expecting basic respect, and her quote about wanting to be celebrated, not tolerated, is the healthiest mindset anyone on this show possesses.
Yes. Queen Bella. Okay, sitting comfortably in the middle ground, we have Andreina and Coco.
Very solid choices.
Andreina clocked Jeremiah's gaslighting immediately. She didn't let him spin the narrative. She trusted her gut, and she held her ground even when he tried to make her feel crazy.
She held her own.
And Coco is a masterclass in cutting off dead weight. She saw Chris wasn't serving her. She confronted the mean girls directly without raising her voice, and she fiercely protected her own peace. Very solid, healthy middle ground. But now, we have to look at the bottom of the barrel. The O'Prains. Completely detached.
It's a very crowded basement down there. We have Iris, who genuinely believes she can ignore a woman for months, offer zero friendship or support, and then demand blind mafia-style loyalty simply because she demands it, completely detached from how human relationships function.
So detached.
Then we have Jeremiah, who actively gaslights women on camera, seemingly forgetting that the producers are literally holding the receipts and will broadcast his lies to millions of people. Delusional.
And the crown jewel of delusion? Hannah. Hannah, who genuinely thinks stopping a fun game of charades to aggressively ask someone, "Are you good?" is normal, healthy human behavior.
Terrifying.
Hannah, who thinks deploying a weaponized panic attack excuses pathological lying to her friends' faces. Completely, fundamentally detached from reality.
A truly staggering lack of self-awareness all around, which flows perfectly into looking at the romantic connections, because delusion clearly doesn't stop at friendship.
Well, definitely not.
Let's do couple or PR strategy. Which relationships feel genuine and which feel meticulously built in a lab for Instagram engagement?
I think we both know the biggest offender here.
Absolutely. The most obvious PR strategy, Imus and TJ. I am heavily snarking on this dynamic.
Me too.
TJ asking Iris to be his girlfriend on camera. Iris saying, "I love you" for the first time, while making sure her angles are right for the camera. It is completely performative.
It's so forced.
It's giving Jack and June making a joint Facebook account energy. You know those couples who post massive defensive paragraphs about each other every Tuesday to prove how happy they are?
Yes. Oh my gosh, the joint Facebook account.
It's overcompensating for a complete lack of a real foundation. They are securing brand deals and spin-off appearances, not a future.
That is the most devastatingly accurate read of the century. They just feel so produced. Also firmly in the PR strategy category, Chris and Coco.
Even though it's over now.
Yeah, it was so transparent that it ended the absolute second the camera stopped rolling. They held on just long enough to ensure they had a storyline for the Tahoe trip.
Totally.
He wanted screen time to find his older established sugar mama. She wanted a cute guy to kiss under the mistletoe for the holiday special. Zero actual substance.
Exactly. A transaction disguised as a romance. And the only relationship that feels mostly genuine. As we said, Clark and Taylor.
Yeah, they feel real.
It doesn't feel like they're performing for an audience. It feels like they are genuinely trying to figure out if their complicated lives are actually compatible in the real world. It's a bit boring for reality TV, which means it's probably very real.
I agree. I'm rooting for them to make it. So, zooming out on this entire cast who thrived outside the villa and who fumbled the bag.
The clear winners are the ones who adjusted well by aggressively stepping back. Nick and Alondria won by staying completely away from the toxic cast group chats and keeping their relationship protected.
Those word.
And Ola won by buying a house in peace, building wealth, and avoiding this chaotic spin-off entirely. They remembered that reality TV is a temporary stepping stone, not a permanent residence.
Yes, you have to know when to exit the stage. But then you have the ones who clearly missed the villa attention and are starving for relevance.
Oh, the spiraling is real.
Jeremiah is pandering to whoever is perceived as popular because he desperately wants an invite to the right influencer parties. Iris and Hannah are attempting to recreate reality TV drama in normal adult settings because they don't know how to function without an overarching storyline and a villain to fight.
They treat everyday life like a confessional booth. It's sad.
It really is.
And finally, the people who should have stayed completely offline, Chris, who is out here getting caught in random club VIP sections on TikTok videos while trying to maintain his fake TV romance timeline.
Caught in 4K again?
And Austin, who softly launched a new girlfriend immediately after blatantly lying on national television. The internet always keeps the receipts. Log off, read a book, go outside.
Seriously, log off and stay off.
Mm.
Watching this cast utterly fail to manage their lives makes me realize we seriously need to check our own chaos levels before we enter this week. Let's do our Sunday spiral check-in. Ground ourselves before we face our mothers and our patients. I'll go first.
Lay it on me. Let's hear the spiral.
Okay, one thing stressing me out immensely about Monday. The sheer mountain-like amount of charting and patient paperwork waiting for me at the dental office. I can already feel my carpal tunnel acting up just thinking about it.
It's the worst.
But one thing I am excited for, to balance the dread, I am finally organizing my skincare fridge later tonight. It is going to be incredibly aesthetic, color-coordinated, and deeply soothing for my soul.
Okay, I love that for you.
One chaotic thing I will probably do this week to sabotage my own peace, I will probably text my ex after exactly 2 glasses of mimosa at this Mother's Day lunch today. The family trauma always makes me seek out toxic comfort. I can already feel the bad decisions brewing.
The self-awareness is admirable, even if the decisions themselves are objectively terrible.
Thank you. Okay, your turn.
Okay, my turn to confess. Stressing me out having to fake smile and engage in extensive small talk with that particularly chatty patient at 8 a.m. on Monday while I hold a drill. I'm going to have to dig incredibly deep into my depleted reserves of patience.
I will pray for you.
Appreciate it. Excited for. I am ordering a highly specific, aggressively overpriced takeout order tonight. We're talking premium sushi, extra spicy mayo, an exorbitant delivery fee that I will justify to myself. And I am going to eat it in complete, beautiful silence.
That sounds heavenly.
And my chaotic thing, I am almost certainly going to turn down social plans this week by pretending to be sick with a vague, untraceable stomach issue. But I will inevitably, accidentally post an Instagram story of my iced coffee from a very public, very recognizable cafe, completely exposing my own lie.
You are so toxic. I love it. You are going to get caught in 4K just like Jeremiah.
We own our flaws. We just don't put them on national television for a spin-off check.
We really do. Well, that shifts our energy completely. We need to wrap up this morning session so we can go emotionally prepare for the gauntlet of our mothers. Thank you to the Snark Squad for spending part of your Sunday morning with us, sipping your coffee, and analyzing the absolute delusion of this Lake Tahoe trip.
It's been deeply therapeutic. But now, we turn the floor over to you. We need to hear from the squad. Who is your favorite couple from the season, or do you think they are all fundamentally doomed?
Let us know.
What is your exact, highly specific coffee order today getting you through the weekend? And genuinely, look inward. Do you legitimately think you could survive reality TV fame without completely losing your grip on reality like this cast did?
I would crumble in 3 days. I would be crying in the hot tub by day 2. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Remind yourselves to like, comment, subscribe, and please slide into our DMs and send in your messy weekend stories. We absolutely live for the drama.
Keep the snark alive, besties.
All right, Snark Squad, have a beautiful Sunday. Stay caffeinated, stay chaotic, and we will see you on the Snark side.
Stay caffeinated, stay chaotic, and we will see you on the snark side.